Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing another Codeforces video. This one is called Simons and Making It Beautiful. Yeah, let's get right into it. This is a problem A, or I should say an A-type problem, so it's not really that difficult, but any competitive programming problem is pretty complex, even though relative to other problems that are competitive programming, it may not be as hard, so... But yeah, doesn't matter, let's get into it. For permutation r of length m, we call an index I, 1 is less than or equal to I, which is less than or equal to m, ugly, if and only if I is equal to the maximum of r1, r2, so all the numbers in that permutation. So, Simons has a permutation p of length n, and he can perform the following operation on p at most once. Choose two indices I and j, and then swap p of I and p of j. Find a permutation q that can be obtained from p by performing the above operation at most once, such that the number of ugly indices in q is minimized. Okay, so each test contains multiple test cases. First line is the integer n, length of p, and the n integers p1 all the way to pn, the elements of p. And we're going to print n integers q1 to qn, the permutation I found. And there's multiple possible permutations. I can output any. Okay, it's pretty cool. So we could look at some of the test cases, but I think let's first try and understand what they're saying right here. So for permutation r of length m, I is ugly if only and only if I is equal to the max of this set. Okay. So it's saying, if I understand correctly, and we can check a test case. First test case, 2 and 1, 2. He can only obtain two possible permutations. 1, 2, we can see 1 is equal to the max of 1, 2 is equal to the max of 1, comma 2. So there are two ugly indices. Permutation 2, comma 1. We can see 1 is not equal to the max of 2, and 2 is equal to the max of 2, comma 1. So there's only one ugly index. Okay. Y is 1. I see. So we're basically rearranging this array over and over and over again, and then finding for each permutation how many, let's see, which one has obtained such as no, so we want to minimize the number of ugly indices. So in this one, it's just 2, comma 1, because this one is the least number of ugly indices. It's only max 2, and then it's only 1 is not equal to max of 2, and then 2 is equal to the max of 2, comma 1, because there's only one index, which is this one's not saying the indices, but in this case it would be, there's only one. Okay, I see. Okay, very interesting. It's kind of complex, but basically, let me get the whiteboard out. Let me get my online whiteboard because I'm a little broke. But let's see if we can get this out. But yeah, so basically we have a permute. The way I understand it is, let's say we have like a, or let me use text, probably better. Oh, whoops. This is going to be removed. We have our text right here. Oh my gosh. For someone that works in Sweet, I'm pretty terrible at technology. Okay, so, oh, let me make it 48. So we have a permutation 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, or like an input like this. It'll come out as in the parser. Then, 4, 5, 3. Then we take every permutation of this. So I'll do, let's make it smaller because otherwise it's going to be too many permutations. For the record, a permutation is like when you rearrange the numbers and you get another combination. So for example, the permutations for this one would be 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 2, 2, 1, 4, 2, 4, 1, and then 4, 1, 2, and then 4, 2, 1. So the number of indices for this one would be, or I guess the number of, what do they call them? Ugly indices, I believe. It's a, yeah, we call an index ugly if and only if. And this one had 2, so we want to count the number of ugly indices. So this one you have, and we can take here, and what is the definition of an ugly index? Oh wow, and I missed this part. He has a permutation p of length n. He can perform the following operation on p at most once. I see. So he can only do this once. Like he can only rearrange the permutation once. So we can't actually go through every permutation. It can only be one where he gets to that next permutation through one swap. So like this one, because he swapped the 4 and the 2. This one's good, and I'll put this as green. This one is also good because there's only one swap. Not this one. And this one's good. But the others are not possible. Completely missed that part. Oh wait. Can I? Oh, I see. There we go. So it's 4, yeah, it's just these 3 combinations right here. Okay. And we want to minimize the ugly indices. How do we minimize the ugly indices? Cool. And the way he counted this one is by choosing indices 2 and 4 to swap. How does he count how do we count the ugly indices though is the question. Find improvement by performing the above. Oh, I see. It's actually the index is equal to the maximum of all the numbers up to that. So 1 is equal to max of 1, and then 2 is equal to max of 1, 2. I see. Okay, so to count ugly indices, first we got the permutations that work, right? And this is at most once, so we don't need to actually change it. So this one's also, the original array itself is also a valid combination. Now from here, we have the number of ugly indices here are going to be where that index is actually equal to the maximum so far. So here it's going to be, you have 1 works, and by the way, this is like a 0, this is not 0 base, this is 1 base indices. So these are my indices, like 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't start from 0 because the way they would structure the problem, like normally in computer science, it would be like 0, 1, 2, right? But in this case, it's 1, 2, and 3, because that's just how they do it in the competitive programming landscape. Like they start with 1, 2, but yeah, just keep that in mind. So for this array, we have 2 ugly indices, 1, 1, 2, and then 1. No, it's just that, because, or actually also on top of that, okay, I see. The elements of P can also only be up to n, so we can't even have this type of combination. It would have to be 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So here would be 1, 2, and then 3, and we want to minimize the ugly indices. So this one has 3 indices, which is already a lot, right? The next one's going to be 1, 1, 3. This one doesn't work because this is up to 2. And the maximum here is 3, which is not equal to the index we're at. This one works because it's 1. Maximum of 1 is 1. Maximum of 3 is 3, which is not equal to 2. And then finally, this one works, so I'm gonna mark this as green. Uh, 3 is equal to 3. Yeah. Then we have here 2, 1, 3. Whoops. Then we have 2, 1, 3. So 2. This one's a red one because it doesn't work. 2. Then we have green. 2, 1. 2 is equal to 2. Yeah, that works. And then, because the maximum is, right, 2. And red here would be 2, 1, 3. This one, no, this is not red because, so the whole array is always going to be, one thing I noticed just off the bat, the whole array is always going to be like the last index is always going to be an ugly index because that covers the whole array, and the array has to be bounded by the number of numbers in the array. So 1 to 3. This one's going to be 3. Yeah, so this works. And finally here we have, this is going to be red. 3. And then it'll be this one is, no, these are all going to be failures until we get to the last one. And that already gives us a clue as to where we need to go with this problem because, wait, 2 is, yeah, not equal to 3. So it's not equal to 3. And then finally, we'll have a green. 3, 2, 1. 3 is equal to 3. So it looks like if we reverse it, the more we reverse it, the better we do, because then the number of ugly indices, it doesn't work until we get to that maximum, until the index has to catch up to like the maximum, because right now the maximum is 3, index is 1, so the index has to catch up 1 and then 2, and then finally we get there at 3. So we need to keep that in mind, right? Like we need to wait for the index better if we hit maximums early on, because they will not change with smaller numbers and the index will have to catch up, meaning that we minimize number of ugly indices. Yeah. So how can we use that information, right? So we want to find the permutation Q. This one's the best one because it flips it in reverse. The more reverse the array is, the better it is for us. So 1 to 2 goes to 2 to 1. 2, 4, 1, 3. This one's better because we move that max. So the idea is we kind of just want to move the maximum to the front. Like it's just better. Like in this case, it's I think the problem's kind of trying to confuse us with these like one-off solutions when there's a better solution that generalizes to everything, and we call this a greedy algorithm, where like where there is always a step that guarantees a solution or one step closer to the solution. So these here, they're giving us these answers when like, see, they're moving, like in this case, you have 8, 4, 1, 3, 2, 6, 7, 8, 5, and they moved the 8 to like just this spot, 1, 2, 3, 4, when in reality, it could have just been moved to the front and that would have been our best solution. So I think the solution here is really just, you take the original permutation, you look for the maximum number, you move it to the front, and you swap the other one and move it to wherever it was, and that's it. Because when the greatest number is in the front, you minimize the number of ugly indices because the indexes have to catch up, because your maximum is going to be that biggest number right from the get-go, right on that first element. As an example, just to make this clear, if we have an array like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then the best solution is always to find the max, which is 9, and then swap with the front element, and then that's your answer. That's a permutation. So it'll just be 9. We're going to swap these two. Wow, that's a horrible color. Can't lie. There we go. So it would be 9. Oh shoot. 9, 2, 1, 5, 6, 4, and then 8, 7, 3. And there you go. That means now it's like you'll have 9, 9, 2, 9, 2, 1, 9, 2, 1, 5, and so on. And none of these indices are going to be ugly because you'll have 1, 2, 3, but the maximum is equal to 9, and it's always equal to 9, constantly, repeatedly. Until we finally get to the end, where it's actually like a ugly index. So it'll be here, and then max equal to 9. So you have only one ugly index. That's like the best you can always do every time. Just swap those two, and we could test this, right? So if I pull out my, if I pull this out, we could read it in. This is the boring part, by the way. I might even cut this out, but I'm not sure. This part's not as important because once you have the general idea, you can code it in any language you want. And then yeah, we just find where the biggest number is. So what I like to do is we'll have like a max I and a max. So we're gonna see where if P of I is greater than we set it to -1 from the get-go because that's how we do it. P of I is greater than max, then we take we set max I equal to I, max equal to P of I, and then we take P once we get that. P of is equal to oh no, we gotta swap it correctly. Otherwise it's gonna because otherwise that overrides it. And then finally for let's see if that works. Listen to it. What yours works. Do we have to output the? No, we don't. That's good. And bang, it works. There you go. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you guys like it when I code, when I don't. Yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you.